Hello there. Once again, this is Alcon Recon. We're about to have a little discussion on the West Indies cricket team. Of course, the world knows now that the West Indies won the series, the two-test series, 2-0. They also knew that 12 players from the original test team for the West Indies were unavailable for this tournament. And it was expected that maybe the West Indies would have been too weak to deal with Bangladesh, despite the fact that they are down number 9 in the ranking. However, now that they have won the series, the big question is, Sri Lanka is coming up in about a few weeks' time. How are they going to deal with this? The hardcore West Indian players were not available for this. Yet still, the fact that West Indies won the series. I don't think it's always fair to want to change the pattern and bring the other guys in at this point in time. I'm not saying it's illogical. What I'm saying is that they got an opportunity to do it, and they did. But there are a number of things to be discussed. The first is, was Bangladesh not on the cards to be beaten by the West Indies anyhow? And this is no different, simply because of the fact that although they didn't have the experience and the exposure, they played well. They played quite well. We saw the good of Myers. We saw some good innings from Donna. We have seen some good performances. But then we've got to look at the opposition. And as far as I'm concerned, they were a pretty good team. Their wicket was very, very easy paced. Their spinners bowled well, but they really didn't have the kind of accuracy that they would have liked. There was one particular bowler who was on the line, on the off stump all the time, with his seamers moving to and fro, and he was very successful. The batsmen for the West Indies applied themselves well. Myers, I've seen him before, very aggressive left-hander, and he played quite well. Bonner is a right-hander who played very cautiously. And in the first part of their partnership, what we saw is well-taken singles, there's no hurry to take chances and anything else. But aggression was brought upon them by these bowlers who hardly ever kept the ball on the wicket. They were fairly well often short of a length outside the off stump and just outside the leg stump, maybe short of a length at times. This brought about the cuts and the pulls quite regularly, particularly in the case of Myers and Bonner. And when we looked to the batting of Joshua De Silva, we realized that this young man can cope with it. He plays quite straight. He plays some beautiful shots. As a matter of fact, similar to both Bonner and Myers. It did show up a little bit for Craig Brathwaite, but, I'm still seeing that sort of deficiency in his defensive play, if only because of the fact that he's bottom-handed as a right-hander, and everything tends to want to go on the onside. So if that ball is moving away from him, he may have a problem or two. One of the times he got caught with that same type of delivery. The other one, he left it alone because he was square on, and it turned back and knocked the stump in. I'm not saying that he's not worth his place. I'm saying that I am still seeing that vulnerability in him. But now the fans are talking. Which team are you going to use? And here's a suggestion. There is some time between now and Sri Lanka. Can I suggest to the board that they bring these teams together and they play trials? They play against each other 2 4-day games and see who is really capable at this point in time to face the challenge and to see whether they can make the West Indies team or not. This will be worth their while, because in truth and fact, a number of the test players who did not go on the trip, they're playing pretty well in the ODI tournament in the region. But this is not appropriate in comparison to a test match. So it will be interesting to see how well they have done, or how well the opposition, the team that won the tournament, will be worth the while. I happen to have seen Puran not doing very well at this point in time. I also happen to see the Barbadian left-hander, Hetmeyer. And again, he's doing some nice things when he's doing it, but he does not prepare himself to play an innings. And that's not a very good thing. He failed a few times, and that is going to leave a little bit of a stir in the minds of the selectors. We have seen Chase, and I was very disappointed in him simply because I thought that he was one of the regular players in the first test team. And I thought that he would have easily gotten into it. Now he put himself in an awkward position, and he certainly didn't look the part, and I'm surprised. Well, why? Because I have to say this, Bangladesh did not have a great bowling team. But at the same time, 210 is 210, and I cannot take it away from Myers, or take away 82 from Azari Joseph, or the 90 from Bonner. You've got to look at things in perspective. And this is going to bring the answer to you, simply because of the fact, whatever they do at this point in time, if they don't expose those players to each other and to competition between now and Sri Lanka, the fans will either be on one side or another quarreling about why didn't they pick so-and-so and why didn't they pick so-and-so, and so on. Wendell Simmons got 100. Are you going to ignore that? Or are you going to say, no, he didn't play in the test team, so we won't worry about him? Evan Lewis is another. Even the captain, Jason, and the vice captain of one of the teams, Puran, is not doing well. So it is important that they do it carefully and bring the players in. Give them the opportunity to become matured in the shortest possible time. They all can play. They all are reasonably good batsmen. They don't apply themselves as well as they should. Philip Simmons should take a bit of kudos for bringing these guys into a situation where we can see that they were being advised to do certain things. They were taking singles very well. They didn't take any awkward chances until they were very well settled in. Hence the reason why they got a good result. So now, this is the answer. Go to the playing field in the Caribbean before the Sri Lankans come out and give them the test. If you've got to give them one 5-day game, give it to them and judge them on that. This is important. I wish that the players, the young players who have done well, I wish they'd do as well as they've done in this game that I'm thinking about. And then the more matured players will then have a job on their hands. But it's not impossible. And I think a fair job, a fair selection could be possible under those circumstances. We're going to wait and see what they do. They will return home soon enough, and there will be some dialogue, I'm sure, as to what's next. I think that what's next is 2 4-day trial games. That's ideal. And then the test series against Sri Lanka.